If you are here, hearing these words, it means you have been noticed. This was not random. You were reached for a reason, one that goes deeper than chance, deeper than everyday circumstance. Most people move through life synchronized with its visible rhythms, its obvious demands. But you have always sensed something else moving underneath. Long before you had language for it, you felt a separation from the noise, a quiet distance from the spell the world casts. That feeling was not loneliness. It was attunement. And now, that attunement has been answered. Consider the word infiltrator. It may sound like something from a story, but here it holds a different meaning. You are not here to disrupt or to take. You are here to blend, to move through the world with a light that alters spaces softly, from the inside. Your role is not one of force, but of presence. You stabilize, you clarify, you awaken, not by proclamation, but simply by being as you are. This is a path of subtle impact. The most profound changes begin invisibly, within a consciousness that remembers itself. And you have been placed exactly where such a remembering is needed. If this resonates, it is because you recognize the signs. They are not badges to wear, but patterns you have lived. The first is a natural cognitive separation. While others join the current, you find yourself observing the current itself. You see the patterns of behavior, the unspoken rules, the scripts people follow. You have never been able to fully merge with the chorus, and that very distance has granted you a quiet understanding. The second is an early spiritual depth. Questions of purpose, meaning, and existence found you young, perhaps before you even had the vocabulary for them. This wasn't pretentiousness, it was simply your baseline. You came into this life listening for a different frequency. The third is an intuition that operates with quiet certainty. It is not dramatic, it is a knowing. You sense the truth of situations and people before the evidence arrives. This intuition feels less like a thought and more like a memory, an echo of a deeper self you have always carried. These signs together form a signature. They mean you were not reached because you were lost, but because you were ready. The drifting you may have felt? That was not failure. It was your consciousness expanding, outgrowing old skins, stretching toward alignment it always knew was possible. Sometimes the most aware souls feel the pull of repetition the most, not because they are asleep, but because the weight of the world is constant. Responsibilities, routines, and environments can slowly pull you off center, until one day you realize you've been living a version of life that no longer fits. What you are feeling now is not a crisis. It is a correction. A gentle, firm realignment. It is the quiet hand that turns your shoulders back toward the path you sensed but hesitated to take. This is not punishment. It operates through clarity, not guilt. It is a calling back to yourself. And a natural question arises: why do some feel this and others do not? The signal is not hidden. The world is simply very loud. Many lives are lived in a beautiful, absorbing rhythm of survival and connection, of jobs, families, and dreams framed by the world they know. There is nothing wrong with this. It is simply a different harmony. For those tuned to that frequency, the deeper hum can be difficult to distinguish from the background noise of their own thoughts. They may feel fleeting moments of intuition or wonder, but life's momentum sweeps them along. They are not lesser, they are differently focused. You felt the signal because your awareness had reached a point where the silence between thoughts became audible. You began to observe your own mind, to question your reactions, to sense the layers beneath the surface of things. That inner listening created the space for what comes next. Looking back, your journey likely had a particular texture. Periods of friction, of feeling out of step, of relationships or situations that just never seemed to fit. You may have thought this was a sign you were broken, or that you were failing to get it right. Please understand, that friction was not failure. It was exposure. It was your inherent frequency meeting environments that were not built for it. While others could adapt and merge, something in you resisted. That resistance was your integrity. You were not meant to adapt perfectly to a world asleep. You were meant to move through it consciously. The isolation you may have felt at times was not abandonment. It was recalibration. It was the necessary space for your own signal to clear itself of static. The instability was not chaos, it was the shaking loose of attachments to paths that were not yours. This has all been a preparation. This brings us to a gentle truth: not all souls navigate the world in the same way. Some are beautifully integrated. They find meaning, purpose, and joy within the given structures of society. They build, they sustain, they deepen within the framework. Their journey is profound and essential. Then there are those who are attuned. They live within the system but are not entirely of it. A part of them is always observing, sensing, referencing a different compass. They feel the emotional weather of a room as they enter it. They sense alignment or misalignment in a path before any logical reason emerges. They are not detached cynics, they are connected perceivers. They question not to dismantle, but to understand authentically. If this is you, it explains the subtle dissonance you've always felt. You are not here to merely inhabit a story. You are here to quietly help rewrite it from within. One of the most comforting confirmations for an attuned soul is the pattern of near misses and unexpected openings. Situations that should have turned out poorly somehow didn't. Paths that seemed closed revealed a hidden door at the last moment. People who were not for your journey faded away without dramatic confrontation. This is not mere luck. It is the subtle protection of alignment. You are being guided away from versions of life that would have required you to abandon your sensitivity. It is a quiet stewardship of your awareness, ensuring you are not worn down by densities you were meant to witness, but not to carry. This leads to a powerful, and sometimes unsettling, realization: your mere presence affects people. You may have noticed that some become oddly defensive around you, or conversely, unusually open. They may share secrets or seek your counsel for reasons they can't explain. This happens because your state of being acts as a mirror. When you are grounded in your own clarity, it reflects back to others their own hidden contradictions, their unacknowledged truths, or their dormant potential. You are not causing their discomfort, you are illuminating it. For some, this feels like a threat. For others, it feels like a homecoming. You trigger not chaos, but clarity, and clarity can be startling. This brings us to the heart of the matter: your sensitivity. You may have spent years seeing it as a flaw, a burden that made you too intense, too emotional, too easily overwhelmed. But your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is your receptor. It is the very instrument of your attunement. While others need concrete proof, you perceive the currents of intention, emotion, and energy directly. You feel the truth. This ability is what allows you to navigate away from what is wrong and toward what is right for you. It is your internal compass. Honoring this sensitivity, learning to distinguish its signals from fear or anxiety, is how you step fully into your role. And what is that role? It is both simpler and more vast than you might imagine. You are part of a silent transformation of human consciousness. Real change does not happen only through loud revolutions. It happens through countless, individual inner revolutions, through people who choose to stay awake, to live authentically, to trust that quiet voice within. By simply living from your own alignment, you become a calibrating presence. You demonstrate another way of being. You prove that it is possible to live from intuition, from integrity, from a depth of feeling. Without saying a word, you give others permission to question their own autopilot. Your clarity challenges unconsciousness. Your peace challenges anxiety. Your authenticity challenges pretense. You are a living catalyst. The world is shifting because of individuals like you who refuse to fully go back to sleep. Your personal healing, your moments of insight, your commitment to your own growth, these are not selfish acts. They are radiant. They send ripples into the collective field. You are anchoring a frequency of awareness, and the world, in its own subtle way, is adjusting around you. Much of this work will remain invisible. You will not always see the effects you have. That is by design. This is not about credit, it is about consequence. A word you speak softly today might echo in someone's mind years from now. A boundary you hold might silently give another person strength to hold theirs. The chain of cause and effect extends far beyond your sight. So trust the pull. Trust the quiet sense of being guided. Trust the deepening. You are not alone in this. You are part of an ancient, quiet pattern of awakening. Your life is not a random series of events. It is a deliberate, beautiful, and courageous unfolding. If you are still listening, I thank you for your presence and your attention. If this message has resonated with you, and you wish to explore these ideas further, consider subscribing to this channel. Your support helps this work reach others who might need to hear it. Please feel free to share your own reflections or experiences in the comments below. There is great power in community, even a silent one. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, and trust your path.